Well, hello, ice cream and entrepreneurship lovers. It's your friendly neighborhood ice cream man, Brent Murray, here to talk to you a little bit more. Had a friend named Caden ask me on YouTube. He says, "Hey, ice cream man Brent, talk to me about funds. How did you guys generate the funds to start your business?" This takes us back quite a ways. We don't really need to get into the history of the Dairy House, though. If someday you want to hear about that, we can go there too. The Dairy House was actually purchased third hand by my parents when I was actually probably a little bit younger than you guys. I think I was 14 years old when Mom bought it, and then I started here that following year, so it would have been the year that I turned 15 years old. And my father had worked his whole life at Osco Drug CVS. He had worked a retail life, and he had done good about saving some money, putting it towards his retirement. And when my parents were in their 40s, they decided Mom wanted to do something a little bit different. So they heard that the Dairy House was up for sale. This would have been in the mid-90s. And they heard that the Dairy House was up for sale. Mom came in and talked to the owner, and we had to Mom and Dad took some money and they put it down. They put it down to like pay some money right out the gate, a big lump sum. And then they had it negotiated that each year Mom and Dad would be responsible for giving, their name were the Warrens. They were going to give them some money each year until the business was paid for entirely. In 2000, at that point that was 96, and I want to say Mom and Dad paid it off over the course of about 6 or 7 years, and then they owned the Dairy House straight out. In 2008, I came back and I had gone to college. I thought I was going to work a retail job for a long time. I was managing Best Buys actually, and decided I wanted to do something different. And Mom was getting close to retiring, so we ended up chit-chatting and kind of essentially worked out a very similar agreement. Paid Mom and Dad a lump sum of money, and then each year they were nice enough to extend it out a little bit further, so I didn't have to pay quite as much per year, but I had to pay it for more years. So I'm 10 years into it, and I think I have about 2 years left in the payment, and then hooray, Dairy House is all paid off. So that's how we did it. A lot of other businesses will do different things, like there are small business loans that you can get through your bank. You will do a lot of venture capital. If you've got a real good idea and you do a pitch, you guys have seen the Shark Tank, and it's almost like what you guys are doing right now. There are a lot of different options for financing your business. I like to get in real inexpensively and do a proof of concept. Let's make sure that this is going to be a good idea before I go throwing a lot of money and throwing a lot of resources and throwing a lot of time behind something. So about 8 or 9 years ago, I decided I wanted to create a kind of a side business, I guess you could say, and that's our quartz. That's the quartz that you see at Schnucks, that you see at Sugar Britches, that you see at Woodman's in Rockford, and of course the ones you pick up here at the shop too. We used to not do that, and I negotiated some talks with Woodman's, and we started doing it. I went in very, very light. I wasn't changing much of our business model. I was just packaging it a little bit differently, so there wasn't a whole lot of expense to it, and the proof was in the pudding. Right out the gate, we started selling ice cream really, really well out of Woodman's, branched out into a couple of other stores, and time has told. It's been a fantastic opportunity for us, not only to sell additional ice cream. I think probably the thing that I did not anticipate that ended up happening more than anything was it legitimized the Dairy House as an ice cream manufacturing company. For the longest time, it was very hard for me to get that idea out to our customer that we are really making this ice cream right in our kitchen and putting it in a cone for you. Or cow to cone, I think they said. So it was hard for me to get that message across. Once we started putting our ice cream inside of grocery stores, it really legitimized us, and people were like, "Oh yeah, they make the ice cream right there. Oh yeah, they make it right in the kitchen right there." And it was very easy to come across with that one. So Caden, that's the answer to that one. I hope I explained it pretty well. Mr. Brunke had asked me too to talk about variable versus fixed expenses. I would probably say the cream is the biggest variable expense that we have. It is going to go up based on economic factors. The cream and all of these raw good industries, they fluctuate based on how much product is made, how much product is being sold, the whole supply and demand curve, and then of course there are subsidies and things like that the government helps out farmers with too, and those come into play as well. The other factors that I would probably say that are a little bit variable are labor. So what I want to pay the team. I tell the team when they first start working here, I don't pay minimum wage because I'm not looking for minimum wage work. So I hope that I'm one of the better paying businesses out there, but that is a variable cost. And as a team member has been with us for years after years after years, they've accumulated some raises and they would be making more money than somebody that first started with us. So those kind of variable costs come into play. And then as well as just kind of fun stuff too, trying out new products and stuff like that, those would go into our variable costs as well. And then he asked me to talk about changes to expenses that are outside of our control. I would say we talked about that labor. There's talk, and it's actually happening right now, that minimum wage is changing. So if minimum wage changes, then what I am paying the team has to change as well. So that's kind of outside of our control. And then economic factors. I would say what we're dealing with as far as being more of an ice cream manufacturing company right now than being an ice cream shop has a lot to do with those economic factors. Right now, it's just not safe for us to be an ice cream manufacturing company and an ice cream shop at the same time. So I had to kind of choose which one is going to be better for us, which one's going to be the smarter move, and we went with the ice cream manufacturing company. I'm real excited because it's been doing really well. So I anticipate we've kind of grown this side of the business while hitting pause on the other side of the business. I anticipate that we're not going to have a problem pushing play on the scoop shop side of the business, and it only gave us that opportunity to kind of grow the other side of the business. Hope all those things made sense. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments down below, or send me a message or anything like that. Brunky can send me a message too. Thank you guys. Hope you have a wonderful week, wonderful weekend. Thanks. Bye-bye.